Today's video we're having a look at the 4 Emotator 1200 rotators that I have just finished stripping down and cleaning up. If you've watched the previous videos you will have seen the mess that I was dealing with. So basically in this video we're going to have a bit of a quick run through of what is right and wrong with each of these rotators after they've been physically cleaned up. Properly cleaned up as opposed to completely stripped down, as opposed to what some people call servicing or refurbishing, when they just chuck a bit of grease in on top of the old grease. So that will do for that. I'm just going to put the camera into a holder and line the hole up. So I've used both hands to show you what's going on with these rotators. Right. Okay, so we'll work over the first one over here in the first tray. When I get the light in the right direction, put that down. The BK drum, the brake drum, is smooth inside, so there's no major damage inside this brake drum. The pinion gear has a little bit of wear in the gears, and about the normal position they get wear. It's not bad at the present moment, but eventually it will get there, but that could have been caused because of the grease being so crappy. The swing bar is in good condition. It's got a little bit of surface rust on it in places. We'll look at the actual tray of goodies I've got here. All cleaned up okay after seeing what it looked like the other day when I was playing them with getting the grease off everything. The BK spring looks in good condition. So all in all, this tray is cleaned up really well. The limit switch assembly and pot assembly, I've got to strip down later on. With something I'll be doing, I've got to refurbish the pot, check all that out. Limit switches seem okay. This one has a little bit of surface rust on it. As you can probably see here, when I get light right now, there's etching here. The grease they use in these rotators was quite acidic and would eat paint off steel. You can probably see just here in the right direction. That's sitting grease. That just sits there and just eats away. And another good example is just there. So there you go. It just eats the paint away. Literally eats it. The motor. And that's got a little bit of moisture damage on the cowling here, the earth cowling. It's not bad, I've seen a lot worse. The motor end float, look in there, motor end float is about what I like to see, so that's okay. I'll be resetting all the BK rotor. This is the actual BK rotor, or BK butterfly I sometimes call them, because of its butterfly shape. Okay, the first sub-chassis, first top sub-chassis I should say, is in good condition. It cleaned up really well, considering what it looked like before was a manky mess. So he's okay. Inside. The very top plate, which as I said before, that goes up in here. This is the top plate, and the drive gears sit between there and there. So this, as you can see, has got a lot of etching on it. Now this is a gold zinc plated steel, and you can see all the actual zinc plating is gone, literally. And basically even around where you see sitting grease, light right direction, oh that's better, I don't know what's going on. Instead of sitting grease, where the grease has been sitting, it just eats the zinc plating off. And yes, there might be a bit of movement here from the gear moving around, but basically it etches like this here. There's no movement on the grease here, it just sits still, and you can see it's etched it away. And the same thing for the bottom, totally clean. It just takes the zinc plating right off, so I get the light in the right direction. It is acidic grease, and if I tell you with an Emotator rotator to strip them down and clean them up properly, because it'll only get worse. So, and then the same thing applies to this one. This is the base plate for the gears and the motor mount, and etching again the same thing. That's just caused purely by the grease and manky old crappy grease that's been sitting there way too long. That's the problem with most of these. Let's bring the gears over. We'll have a run through the gears. First off, we'll just grab some shafts. Okay. This shaft has a bit of a wear mark in it here. Probably can't see it. It's not that, you can't really feel it, but you can see it. This is the one I had to pull off when I launched the actual the circlip off to try and get it out. It was stuck in so badly, but you know, that's all cleanable up. But it's been tight in there for a while, and it's just causing a little bit of damage to it. The two shafts have again little score marks in places, obviously where there was no grease, or the grease had gone bad and then they try to keep driving it. So basically we'll go through the gears, have a few gears. Okay, the number one gear, you probably can't see it, but we'll give it a go. The number one gear has been sitting up, the number two gear has been sitting up really high. I prefer to see it down a bit lower. There's other ones that are worse than this one, but I just prefer to see it down a little bit more than that. Just mainly to do with spacing. Yes, there's feathering on the back of the gear. I'll clean that up anyway. So this gear here is the number two gear. Again, it's been sitting in about the middle, and wear marks in the middle, so it's not too bad, as long as it's not too close to the next gear, which is, I'll go for get the gear in the right order, this gear here. Now he's been sitting fairly close to the top, so we shall see how he goes when I reassemble it and align it. Oh, that's another one. That was on there, so I'm out of order here. So again, these gears are in too bad condition. He's actually wearing smack bang in the middle, or maybe even slightly low, but he's not hitting anywhere, so that's good. The drive gear and his two little, we'll call them bushes, C bushes. So these little C bushes go in here. This is the early version. I don't really like these early versions with these C bushes in there, but it is what it is. So that all seems to be alright. Minimum wear on those, and the two main gears has some discoloration on it. I tried to get that off. I might use a wire wheel on it. That's obviously from either the moisture that was in here possibly at some stage, and they're flaring it everywhere. But I'll try and get that in the right order. So you can see there's a bit of, it looks like it's just got a slight discoloration in it. So I've got so much light here, probably not seeing it very well. So they're all not in too bad a condition. I've seen a lot worse. Top housing, as you would have noticed in the previous video, this top housing, or all the top housings, were a really manky mess. This one has some rust damage. Obviously they are using a steel pipe that actually rusted and ran all over the top casing, because that's just a rust from the mast, from that one there. Okay, the bottom housing, again, he's discoloured from rust running on it, most likely. Everything seems to be okay. I was checking the bottom bearing track of this one, the bottom side. A little bit of impact damage from bearings, wear, just probably normal wear. It's a little bit worse just here, but not as bad as some other ones. Yes, there is a bit of wear on the top between this point and about this point, but it's very minimal. So yeah, this one's in not bad condition. The internals are not too bad, so that's all not too bad. Bearing ring, I'll try and show this up. A little bit of impact damage between there and there, quite rough. It's impacted a fair bit. If I could show the light in a better location, probably I'll turn it this way around, maybe you might be able to see it. Chattering, I sometimes call it, but the rest of the bearing track is all neat and tidy and clean, so he's okay. Okay, rotator number 2. The brake drum is okay. I can see there's probably a little bit of very minor scoring, but you can't feel it. It's just the marking on it. The knock bar is okay. Nothing really wrong with that. But here's the destruction of the pinion gear. The pinion gear is chewed nearly in half. There's hardly any teeth left, and that is caused because the grease was so tight, or the gears were so tight because of the grease, and the bearings as well. The bearings were stuck in so tight on this one, and all that pressure was put directly onto the pinion gear. This pinion gear will have to be replaced. It is stuffed. So he's out. It will be gone. So basically, again, this tray cleaned of goodies cleaned up okay compared to what it looked like before. Everything was cleaned up all right. The BK spring is in good condition. It's not bent, twist, or anything else. The motor. In this one, the motor's end float is too much. I'm going to put a set of one bush into it. The BK rotor has not been set up properly. It's running really close to the top, and it's just off the bottom. It's not evenly spaced, so I'm going to be resetting that up again. And it looks as though on the end something might have happened at some stage. There's a wear mark at the top, but you might not be able to see it on the camera here. So that's that. This one's okay. This is the actual the drive gear for the potentiometer off the housing. It all seems to be in good order. Limit switch and potentiometer bar. In here we'll see etching again where the paint is just totally gone. These ones here have like an undercoat or a grey coating on it, so that's just been eaten off. Again, I'll be stripping this down. Probably didn't mention the other one, but I'll be stripping these down and cleaning them all up totally. I'm not doing it right now. So etched again, and etched in the middle as well. But limit switches sound okay. I'll be checking those all out later on. So the next housing, this is the top sub chassis. A little bit discoloration up in the top here. Looks like it might have had a bit of rust and water in it at some stage. Other than that, it's in good condition. So that's that one. Put that aside. Again, this one has etching in here. Zinc plating is totally gone, and it's matte finished. The surface totally matte finished. It's just not a matte finish. It just etches it off and gives it a matte finish. As well as the bottom plate as well has the same issue. Not that it's a major issue, but that grease they're using is terrible grease. Okay, I'll bring up the gears for this one. You can see here. Grab the shaft first. Okay, the shaft. I'll drop on the ground. No, I'm not going to edit it out because I don't know how. Okay, so we have like a burn mark in here. Either it's rust that's been ground into the shaft, I don't know, but it's discoloured on that section. This one is okay, so there's no marking on this one. It's all smooth. There is a slight, I can actually feel it with a fingernail in two places in that one. I'll just swap these shafts around, clean them up and swap them around, so they're in a different location. However, this is the one I had trouble getting this shaft out. Now you probably can't see it between my two thumbnails. There is a distinct depression. Whether I replace this with another shaft, I've got some here. It's been spinning really hard onto the sub chassis, and it's worn a quite distinct groove into it. So that's something I've got to look into, whether I replace it or whatever. So we'll go into the gearing of this one. Number one gear is okay. I can see by the wear mark it's sitting where it should sit. I prefer to see it sit a bit lower, but that's so good. It's a bit of feathering on the back, but it's not that bad. The next gear along is, I'll get the gears in the right order. It's either one of these ones. This one has a little bit of wear, and it's sitting in about the right position. Get the right position. Face it down. That's a good idea. So it's got a little bit of wear in the teeth, but it's not bad. Yes, there is feathering on the back, but that's normal. And this one is the next one along. Well, this is the next one. This is number 3. And he's sitting. The wear mark is sitting. This one is. I'll get it right again. Is sitting in about right position. Doesn't seem to be any major wear marks. Feathering is normal. Then the next gear is the one that drives. Yep, next gear. Well, that was the next one after that. There we go. There he is. So this one has a little bit of feathering as usual, but when you look at the actual gear, the gear has 3 distinct lines in the actual gearing where there's wear. Now, that's caused because this gear, if you can hear it, is loose, which means these gears are separating and moving and floating around. There's lots of end plate in this. I'm going to have to repress this, and the gear has been sitting too close to the previous gear that drives that one, which is this one. It's the gear that drives that, which is obviously this one. It's been resting on top of it and just marking living daylights out of it. It's been resting on it and just running around and grinding the crap out of it. But this being so loose, I have to repress it. Feathering as usual, but the wear on this, I'd like to talk to the customer about this, what we're going to do. So I'll repress it. The wear is not horrendous, but I've seen a lot worse. So the gear I just had out, and here's a little C-clamps, C-bush. They don't seem to be in too bad a condition. I find our little C-bush. He's hiding on me. There he is. He's hiding. So the gear itself, this is rough on the bottom, which is probably caused by that rubbing hard on there. It's more rougher than would normally be, so that's a bit rougher in the edge, so that's probably why it's been marking that previous gear. So the C bushes are in there okay, they're working okay. They're not super loose, they're about what they normally sit at. Teeth at the top are wearing where they should be wearing, and the 2 gears that they drive, that G1 drives, are in good condition. I haven't seen any of these ever been damaged. These are strong gears, these. So yeah, they all seem to be okay. Okay, we go into the top housing. Top housing, this one's had a little bit of wear in it. Probably can't see it, but between my thumb and my thumb over here, there's a depression and very rough spot in the bottom of here. But when you turn it around the other way, from there through to here, there's very little wear at all. You can see a slight discoloration where it's been running. Other than that, the casing's in good condition. So there's that one. The top, I'll do the top already. I've already done the top. Okay, this one, and the same deal. This is the bottom housing. So from about here all the way through to here, there's quite a bit of damage in this one. There's quite a bit of impact damage here. The internals look okay. Again, the other side looks bad. This is all caused by unbalanced air antenna systems. That's basically what causes it. And on the opposite side, in the same location, so you flip this over, wear is there, and you flip it over this way, the wear is here. So that's an unbalanced antenna system that's caused, I'll get it right in a minute. Unbalanced antenna system where you look at this side, no damage, you flip it over, hardly any damage. So basically an unbalanced antenna system was on this. And also, we have a broken bolt. I didn't notice it when I pulled the whole thing apart, but looks like we've had a bolt shear off in here. Someone tried to get it out and drill it out, and they've gone down the side of the bolt. Half or quarter of the bolt is still in here, and I don't know what I'm going to do about this. That won't even be in line with where the bolt holes are. So, and they haven't tried to clean it out, just tried to drill it out, and they just forced something back in there. I don't know what's going on there, but I'm going to look into that later on. Okay, the same deal with the bearing ring. Smooth here, no damage. Rough here, damage. So again, caused by unbalanced antenna system. Balance up your aerials, people. Righto, onwards to the next rotator. Number 3 rotator coming up. Okay, tray of goodies. So the first, the actual BK drum. discoloured, probably from the grease. It's a nice yellow colour actually, or yellow and white. No wear in this at all good. The BK pinion is in really good condition. Other than that, it's been driving about where I like to see it driving. It's in actually really good condition, this one, so hardly any wear at all. The rest of the parts in here, I'll just grab the actual BK spring, is in good condition. The rest of the parts are cleaned up really well. Motor in good condition. However, too much end plate in the motor. Needs to have another spacer in it. Other than that, it seems to be okay. I've yet to test all the motors to make sure they're all working. Rightio, we have, now this is the next version, it's the later version. So the limit switch assembly is separate to the actual, the other one had combined potentiometer and limit switch assemblies had separate ones. So basically, he's in good condition, and you might notice there's no etching on this. So this is a later version, and I think they may have been using different grease. Or it got serviced early in its life, and no etching happened. So again, I've got to pull and service the actual the potentiometers and the whole assemblies. Again, there's no etching on this. It all seems to be okay. It's fairly tight, but I still like to strip it down and clean it out. Top sub chassis, good condition. Again, this is a later version, so that's probably why it might be in good condition. Again, bottom plate, the only wear here is where it's the gear, the actual well, it's just been a bit of movement, and there's no etching, so this has had a different grease in it, just for sure. And there's the next one. Now you would expect to see etching everywhere on this, like all the rest of them. Not even a cracker on this. It's totally clean, like it's pretty brand new. Okay. Grab bring the gears over, it might be easier. Okay. Now gears. Okay, our number one gear. Again, the feathering in the back of this is very minimal. However, this one has been sitting very, very top. The next gear, which may have been this one, has been sitting nearly off the top, like that. Because I can tell by whether it's wear marks. So this hasn't been spaced properly. So there's no major wear on it, but it hasn't been sitting in the bestest location. So a bit of feathering on the back of this gear. Oh, this is the next one up. Sorry, wrong gear. This is the gear it was driving. However, when you look at this gear, I've got a score mark all the way around the top here. This gear has been rubbing on the next gear it's driving. I'll get this right in a minute. Right, this gear sits like that, so when you turn him over, it's been running really hard in here. I can see where the wear mark is. And basically it's been hitting the raised section here and basically chewing out that gear and marking it. So it would have been metal flakes, and I saw a lot of metal flakes in the grease once I cleaned it up and got the cleaning fluid off it. So that's that one. But also this gear here has been the next gear it drives. It's running really close to the top as well, but wrong way around, that way around I should say. It sits that way. Its wear point is probably about right thereabouts, but the wear on here, where the next gear up, has been sitting hard on there, and has been spinning around and chewing the living daylights out of this. And even so, this base of this is a bit sharp and feathered because of that, and it just hasn't been spaced properly. Wrong gear. This gear, sorry. That gear. This gear, that's what I'm looking for. So basically, it's been running hard on there and spinning around and just wearing. So the spacing should have been a slight space in this, but it hasn't been done properly. That gear runs onto this other gear. That's I've got out of order here. And these are the later model gears. Doesn't have the C bush in it. This is a one-piece gear, been welded together, in good condition. The two gears that I drive, in good condition. A little bit of feathering here and there, but they're alright. Shafts, both shafts, main shafts, feel okay, but you may notice, if you can get the light right direction, slight blue tinge to this here. This has actually gotten hot or had no grease on it, and has actually put a tempered mark in a couple of places. No distinct grooves, so not too bad. These two shafts, two shafts, these are the top ones. They're all in really good condition. There's a few little marks here and there, but they're okay. Put this back. Top housing. Okay, top housing looks okay. And again, the same deal with this one. Good patch is from there to about there. Yes, there is a bit of wear in this one. This one, top housing, is got more wear on it than normal, but we have fairly rough section. Light right direction. We'll try that again. The rough area starts from here and goes right over here, but there is really rough. It's pitted. Probably can't see it. It's actually pitted. It's like got impact damage. I can't get the light into it. There's impact damage. There's like little nicks and bumps in this one, and it goes from about there to about there. And then we look at the other side. It's not as bad. Again, there's just little marks. The housing, this one, the track on this one is probably more even in its wear, I would suppose, and this one may be a candidate for the larger bearings as well. I might have to do, because a couple of these had a lot of end float in the casings, I found. So, coming back to this is the base housing. So the damage to the track on the top is from there to there. And we may have a crack. I just noticed it. We may have a crack in it. Right there. We can't see it with the light. It looks like there's a crack here. Can't feel it with my nail. It looks like maybe a crack. So basically between there and there is where the major damage is. And you look at the other side, from this must have only had a very short rotation range. That is totally smooth. Turn over. And this is a new casing. That's right. This is a replacement casing. As you can see, this has got the actual bearing track is actually painted, like the year right. But you can see where the bearings have been running between there and there. So it's taken the paint off there, and the rest of it is totally clean. So again, unbalanced antenna system. Okay, the actual bearings, you can see impact damage here. There's little dents, like as if we had one bearing that's bigger than the rest. Interesting. It's like there's a dent there, and a dent there, and a dent there, and a dent there. It's like as if there's been a bigger bearing, and it's just been sitting in one place. I'll have to go through and check those bearings. Bearing damage here, again caused by unbalanced antenna system, but these dents, which I just noticed, it's like as if there's a bearing that's been sitting, has been bigger, and it's just one bearing. And one again. Oh, other than that, it's in good condition. Okay, on to the next one. Okay, number 4. Here we go, we're getting there. Righty-righty. Pinion gear, in good condition. No major damage. It's okay. It's been running down in about the middle section, which is okay. BK drum, don't drop that washer. BK drum has a very minor score in it. I can only feel it with my finger, but I can't even see it. There's a bit of a score in it, but it's only very minor. The rest of the stuff in this, including the actual BK spring, he's very shiny, this one, but he's in good condition. All the rest of the parts cleaned up okay in this one, so they're all good to go. Motor is in good condition. End float is too much. The BK butterfly is way too low. Part 2. Battery went flat, or something happened and dropped out. As I was mentioning, the BK butterfly in this motor has too much end float. Hear it knocking. A lot of movement, but the butterfly is way too low and looks like it's gone around the end. The spring has been jumping over, hasn't been set up properly. The wear mark is too far off the bottom. It's not focusing, get it right. So this wear mark, you see where the spring has been wrapped around the end. It must have not even broke the spring, but it's actually rounded the top of this off, so I'm going to look into that. The limit switch assembly, limit switch assembly is in good condition. A little bit of etching on this one, there and there. I'll be pulling this down and checking it out. The potentiometer is tight, but I've got to strip this down and clean it out. as I will do with the rest of them. So again, a little bit of rust on the top, but that's just a bit of moisture that's come through from somewhere, don't know where. One of the gears has got a few humps and bumps in it, so it's been hit from something, don't know what. The sub chassis, top sub chassis is in good condition compared to what it looked like before I started cleaning everything up. Again, our etching is back again. This one's not as bad. It's only got half the actual zinc plating off, the gold zinc plating, only half it's gone. On this side, so other than that, it's in good condition. There's the same thing for the bottom one. Again, etching. Again, gears. I'll bring the gears over. Get these all in order. Okay, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. Okay. Yeah, so again, this one, when I looked at it, has been running too close to the top. So the next gear, which may be this one, has been running way too close to the top. Needs to be spaced better. So a little bit of feathering, but nothing major. Bit of feathering in the back of this gear. Again, this gear seems to be running where it should be running. Yeah, it's about roughly where it should be running. So he's okay. But this gear here has, again, the teeth have been hitting the next gear in the back of it. And it probably would be, this could be the first one or the second one, not, these are the same, no, I'm wrong way around. This gear has been rubbing in the back of this gear and it's been chewing. It's been set too low, and it does look, now look at it, it does seem it's been set too low. And it's actually been rubbing on this raised section here. You can hear it. That's where it would be doing. And I did see metal flakes in the grease when I washed everything out, so that's just a spacing thing. It hasn't been done properly. So that gear drives this gear. Wear marks are okay, seem to be alright. It seems to be spaced okay. However, the gear that it drives has been sitting too close to here, and you can probably just see it. There's score marks in this top one. Again, that's just a spacing issue. It's never been spaced properly. The gear that it drives is in good condition. It's coloured, it's tempered like that because they weld this back on, and it's a nice gold colour. It's in good condition, and its two gears that it drives are in good condition. And we go into the top housing. Top housing of this one is okay. It looks like it's been resprayed at some time or other. Bearing tracks. Look at the bearing tracks. We have major wear between there and there, with the worst being right there. And back over here, basically directly opposite, there's not a lot of wear at all. So again, unbalanced antenna system again has caused that. The gears themselves are in good condition. I'm not surprised. When you've got a big gear like that running into there, it's not going to wear it out. So that's that one. The bottom housing, this one is a bit of a problem. We have major wear between there and here, right across here, right across to there, and quite substantial dinting, even to the point where we can't see it. I'll get the angle in the right direction. It's quite rough. It's quite rough. And you can go around here, and then all of a sudden it becomes less rough. It's rough all around until you get to between there and there, and it's totally hardly any wear at all. And when you turn this over, there would be, looks like the paint's still on here. Someone spray painted the whole thing. It's been painted. So I just take them in, and you can actually see it. The paint is still on here when they've done it, and the wear mark is between there and there, right where the arrow is pointing. So that determines the unbalanced antenna system. Directly opposite, see, there's that side, and there's that side there, and that whole thing is just going like that, side force onto it. So there's that one, and the bearing ring will indicate that as well. Again, bearing ring nice and clean between there and there, wear between there and there. And you can put your fingernail in that and go, probably can hear me clicking that. That's my fingernail. I go to here, nothing. Go to here. There's a bit of a track there. Okie dokie, it's all sort of fixable. Rightio, I'm going to try and edit these two halves of video together since my dropped out for some reason. I don't know why. Okay, no worries. We shall see you next video. Catch up. Bye.